Hey, so I want us to quickly continue from where we ended. That is, putting in the email side over here. Okay, so I want us to quickly add the password. So in order for us to do that, let's just copy this and then paste it here. Then we just change the ID to password. All right, we change the ID to password. We change the label to password. We change the type to password. All right, and then we leave the register at register. We leave the error as at the error side, and we leave the disabled inside is loading. Right, so our disabled prop or our disabled state depends on its loading. Right after doing this, what we are going to do is, you see this side, what we could do is we can just copy this side, right? You can just copy this side, come and paste it here, okay? But what we'll do is, you see your sign in and your sign up, or your login and your register, they behave differently, right? You know, for register you want to take some extra data, so we might want to add like a name, like a simple name field, right? So for the name field, we can simply just create this curly braces over here, then we bring it down, then we say, oh, let's check if the variant is equal to what? Register, right? If it's equal to register, then I need us to, if it's equal to register, I need us to basically render this inputs. Okay, so we are just going to take this one and then bring it down here, and that should basically work it out. So in our situation, right after doing this, you realize that if we change the variant to register right now, that is, if we come here, so the default variant is login, right? So if you change it to register, you'd see the difference. Register, it's so if you change it, you see, okay, yeah. So the reason why we are still seeing email is we've not changed the properties inside. So here we make it name, then the label 2 becomes name, then we leave the rest at wherever they are, right? Just like how we did for both of these two bad boys here, right? So understanding how this one works, let's switch it back to our normal login like we did before. Okay, nice and clean. All right, now that this has been able to work out, we need to add one more thing. Okay, now this thing that we are going to be adding is going to be the div. Okay, so we are going to add a div right at the bottom here, and then that is going to be just div. Okay, it has to be small letters. Okay, so inside this div we are going to add a button, a button component. Okay, so we are going to quickly create the button component in a second, but let's quickly just add it like this. And as you can see, if we try to import the button, nothing would show, like we've not created it, right? So in order for us to be able to create our buttons, we need to come here and then create, we can just create a button inside the component, because button is just one, it's just one component. Like, we are not creating multiple varieties of buttons, right? It's just one component. So let's just do REFCE and then button, and let's quickly go back to the form here and import this button, right? Like importing it, so import it like this, right? Then when we go up there to go and look at it, you realize it has been imported with this alias, right? So okay, so you can see our button is here. Nice. Now that we have the button out here chilling at the corner, what we want to do now is we want to quickly go inside this button component and then display or pass in a couple of things, right? And do some stylings and stuff. But before we do that, let's quickly set the text inside the button. So for the text here, we'll check if the variant is equal to login, right? If it's equal to login, we just put in the sign in button. We just put in the sign in button. Okay, but if it's equal to register, but if it's equal to sign up, we just put in register, right? Okay, cool. So now that we know and understand how this works, what we are quickly going to do is you're going to go into the button and then start applying certain props and also the stylings. So let's quickly go into the button. Now this is the button, right? First of all, since we are going to be passing in since you are going to be doing certain things to this button, or we are going to be making it interactive, let's not forget to add our use client over here at the top here, right? Let me type things out. I want to make sure that you're following, so let me intentionally type things out instead of making the AI complete it for me, so that you can easily follow what is going on. So we have the use clients there. Then we want to make sure that we are importing the CLSX from CLSX, and the reason why we are doing this is because it will help us apply like multiple stylings with multiple conditions. All right, now right after importing it, what we want to do is we want to come down here, and then this interface. So we are going to create an interface and then name it button props, right? Then inside this button props, we are going to pass in a few props, right? So what are the props that we are going to be passing in? The first prop that we are going to be passing in is we are going to be passing in the class name, okay? Or if we like, we can just pass in the type first, because maybe we don't want to be confused. So we can just pass in the type, and then we pass in the button. So the type is, it could be a button, right? It could be a submit, right? It could be a button, it could be a submit, or it could also be a reset and then an undefined. Okay, so reset and undefined. Okay, the undefined has to be like this. Okay, so now that we know this, what else do we need? We need to check for the full width. So the full width, we set the full width to boolean. No, it has to be smaller this. So boolean. Then we come down and then we say, oh, look for the children. So the children is going to be what? React node. If you guess that, get yourself what? Bread and egg. So yeah, so we have this, and then we have to check for the on click too as well. Oh, okay, so on click, and then we make sure we set it to what? Void. Nice. Then right after, we say secondary, then we set that to boolean. Then we say danger, okay. Then we say class name, we set that to a string. Okay, then yeah, one more thing, yeah, we forgot to pass in the disabled. So disabled obviously has to be boolean. Okay, so knowing this, okay, I mean basically knowing this, I don't know why the class name, okay, class name string. So knowing this, we are going to have to pass in the button props over here. So what we'll do is we'll just bring this, then we'll say react, we'll call react, then we'll take the fc inside it, then we link it, so we just link it to the button props interface, right? Then inside here we'll come and write the type. So write the type, the full width, you get it, the children, the on-click, right, the secondary, the danger, then the class name, class name, right? Then yeah, one more thing, the disabled. Okay, nice. So now that we know what is going on, now that we've been able to work out what is supposed to happen here, what we are quickly going to do is let's remove this and create a new, okay, my mouse do be tripping sometimes though, so I'll just remove this and I'll open this up, right? Then right after, we want to add the native button component here. Then what else do we want to do? Inside this button component, we want to add the children. All right, so it's going to receive like a number of things, like, you know, a number of text, so whatever we want to pass inside the children here. All right, then right after doing that, we need to pass in the props to the button. So here we'll come and say this button needs a type, then this type is going to be set to type. Do you get it? Then we would say disabled, then this disabled should be equated to what? Disabled. You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. So I'll just add the on-click, and the on-click is also going to be taken from the on-click prop here. Okay, then we can also add the class name. For the class name, we are going to be using the CLSX. Okay, so let's just say class name, and then for that we will just bring this curly braces, then we say CLSX, then we'll open this bracket. Then because we basically want to, like, you know, apply stylings in the vertical direction, we don't want to use this, because like we could use this, bring comma, use this, and you know, we use the double quotes, bring comma, use the double quotes, and do whatever we want to do, right? But in our situation, we want to, I don't know, like it becomes too long, it becomes long like this, right? I don't want that to happen. I want you to be able to follow and use all the styles without me having to like expand the screen. So what we are going to do is I'll just bring the back text, and let's bring the back text like this. Then right after, we just apply. So we'll say flex, right? Then we'll say justify center, then I'll say what? Rounded MD, right? Then let's not forget the px3. No, I said I'll type it out. px3. Then we will just add the py2, right? py2. Then we would say text sm, then we would add the fonts. So text sm, we'll add the font semi-bold, so the font semi-bold. Then we set the focus, so whenever it's focus visible, we set it to outline. So we set focus visible to outline. Then why do we keep set focus visible to outline? Then we set focus visible, we set focus visible outline 2. Okay, so when it's focus visible, we set it to outline 2. Okay, so set it to outline 2. Then we also make sure that we set another focus visible property. Okay, so focus visible property, then we set that to outline offset 2. Okay, so outline offset 2. Okay, then right after doing that, we want to make sure that it's a transition, right? So it doesn't just, you know, it doesn't just, you just hover over it and the colors just keep blinking up and down like anyhow, right? So right after doing this, what we want to do is we quickly want to bring this comma. Then we are now come to add stylings based off of condition or props, like availability of props to the button, right? So as you can see over here, we are saying that if the button is disabled, right, if the button is disabled, we need you to do something, right? Now what is that? We want you to say that the opacity should be 50 and then the cursor should be default. Okay, the cursor should be default. All right, nice. Then we are not done. We are going to come down here again. I'm going to come down here and then we set the full width. We set the full width to W full. Okay, then we'll come down again and then we'll say secondary. So for the secondary, we'll just say text gray 900. Then say text white. Okay, so now that we've been able to set the secondary up, we want to come down here and then add one more. No, it's not one more, but like, you know, yeah. So danger, so when the prop is danger or when danger is available, what we want to do is we want to say rows, so bg rows, right? Bg rows 500. Okay, then we apply on hover. So when it's like, you know, when you hover over it, the bg rows goes to 600. So 600, right? Then right after doing that, you make sure that when the focus is visible, so focus visible, we set out to outline, and so like outline rules 600. Okay, okay, I think we are getting an error here. That is because of this comma. Nice. So when it's not, when we want to make sure that bring this comma. Okay, so we want to make sure that when it's not secondary or danger, you want to print out or want to produce or show a certain type of button with like a certain type of styling, right? So we say if it's not secondary, right, and at the end of the day it's not danger, we want to show like a certain type of styling, right? So for that, we just open this up and then we say bg indigo 500. Then whenever you hover over it, you get what? Whenever you hover over it, you get a bg indigo, so indigo 600. And then whenever focus visible, I mean, it's basically this one. So just copy this, paste it here, but like, you know, we change this to indigo. Right now, right after doing that, we need to remove one. So yeah, one more, and let's not forget that we can also pass our class name in here. Okay, but I want to see what the error is. Okay, so this was the error. Oh, we are still getting more errors. Let me see. It says unexpected token button identifier. That's weird. Let's look at this. Why does it keep underlining it though? Yeah, we forgot to add this one. Yeah, so we are checking if it's not danger, if it's not secondary and it's not danger, then produce this. So you can see this is basically button here, right? So we want this button to fill this page, and then you can see that we have a property here that says when we set the button prop to a full width, or when we set full width to true, it should say that the button, like, it should make the button fill up the space that it occupies, right? So in order for us to be able to do that, let's come here and apply a few stylings to our button. And then the first styling is we can just say the full width, and you see it will fill up the space. And then we can set the disabled to what? You can set it to disabled. It's loading, sorry. So it's loading. And what else? We can say that the type of this button is submit. Now the reason why this would work so well is because of the fact that we are using it with a React hook form. So all we have to do is just add this button as a type submit, and then obviously since it's already in the form element, it should just work as simple as a form, right? So yeah, that's it. So that's it for the button, and we want to quickly move on, come down right below the form over here, and then add a few divs. Then we just add, you know, when we add the divs, we just add like the extra elements that we need to complete our form. So we have this div right below, and then we are setting it to margin top 6. Okay, so margin top 6. Then inside here we want to create a div, so we just set the div to a class name relative. You see how I'm doing it? Then after, we set a div to absolute, so absolute. Then after the absolute, you're going to add a few more class names, and that is insert 8. So insert 8. Then we would say flex, then we say item center. Okay, nice. Now that we have this all worked out, what we want to do is we just come down below here. Okay, then we'll apply we basically just apply like one div here, and then this div is going to be like an HR or like a line or something, right? So we just say that I mean obviously the first class name for this particular div is going to be width full, so let's just do the width full here, and then we can like just apply the rest of the class names to it. So it's obviously going to have a border. And so border T, that would say that the border should be gray. Say that the border should be gray 300. You get it? So you can see that this is the border here, and right after that we want to come right below here, and then we'll apply a few more stylings. The first class name here for this div is relative. Okay, then inside this same div we apply the flex, justify sender, and text small. Okay, so text small and mt5. Okay, so now that we have this, we are going to create like this really cool span. So inside the span we are going to pass in a few class names. So this class name is going to be what's bg white. Oh, come on, let's type it out. So bg white, right, and then px02, and then we have text GUI 500, right? Then inside here, inside the span, we're going to add what we are going to write or continue with. You get it? So or continue with. Then you can now add the extra things that we want to add. So the or continue with, we are going to come right, so it's like after span, this div, so it's like after span, the first is the second div, right after the second div we need to create another div here, right? So this div is basically going to have a few class names. It's going to be class name, and this class name is what, as you know, mt6, and we are going to give it a flex, then gap2, then we justify center. Nice. Then right inside here we are going to create a bunch of like social buttons. Okay, so here we just say auth, so we just say auth social button, auth social button, and we are basically we are going to be creating this social button here. Okay, so let's create that as soon as possible. We are just going to come here and say auth social button tsx. Then inside we say rafce, to like quickly, you know, set it up, and let's make sure it's a use client too as well before we forget. Okay, so knowing that it's a use client now, knowing that it's a use client now, I mean, is it necessary? Is it necessary to set it as a use client? Okay, let's take out the use client. Let's take out the use client. Let's just, you know, work stuff out. So let's go into the auth form and try to import it. Okay, so we are importing the auth social button here, and I'll quickly go into it to start applying. So the first thing is we are going to need a certain type, so import icon type from React icons. Okay, so React icons, icon type. Then right after doing that, what we need is we are going to create a bunch of we're going to create interfaces that we are going to be using for props. Okay, so for that we'll come down and then we'll see interface, and then auth social button props. Then this auth social button props is going to have like a number of values. That is going to be icon is going to be what, icon type. The icon is going to be icon type, which is the type that we took from React icons. Then we set an on click to void, so on click. Okay, so we set the on click to void. Okay, nice one. Now that we have this all worked out, what we want to do is we want to quickly come here and then fix it inside as we always do. So we can say we are taking React, and then we are taking the fc, or the functional component property of it, or module of it. Then we just connect it. Okay, so we just connect it like this. Okay, nicely done. Then right after, we can just pass in the props. So we just pass in icon, bring the comma, and then send the on click as well. Okay, nice one. So this icon is going to be icon. Okay, so knowing that we've been able to set the icon as icon, and also we've been able to pass in the on click over here, what we are going to do now is we are going to style, or we are going to add unnecessary elements that we need. So for here, we would basically come and then create like, it will simply come and create like a simple button. So this is the simple button that we have, and then we are going to pass in the icon through here. Okay, then right after doing this, right after passing this icon, I'm going to come above here, and okay, so right after passing this icon, we're going to come right above here, right, and then we are going to say type. So this type is going to be button. Okay, then this on click that we have is going to be an on click. Okay, and we are going to quickly come and say class name. Then this class name, we are going to let's quickly write this class name like in a vertical way, so that we can basically keep track of how things are going here. So we can say inline flex is going to be the starting class name. Then we have with full, so w full here. Then we add justify center, justify center. Then we have the rounded MD. Let's not forget our BG white. Okay, then PX, so we add the PX4, PY2, so PX4 PY2, and then we would say text gray 500. Okay, then we say shadow SM, so shadow small. Then we say ring 1, so ring 1. Then we say ring insets, okay, ring insets. Then we give the ring a gray 300, so ring gray 300. Okay, then right after that we add a hover, so we'll say whenever we hover over it, so whenever we hover over it, we want to give it a BG gray 50, right? Nice. Then right after doing that, let's clear all these spaces. Okay, nice. Now right after doing that, what else do we want to do? We want to add a focus outline offset to 0. Focus outline offset, to set that to 0. And okay, so yeah, so basically after setting this up, we know that we now need to make sure that this icon is actually working as it's supposed to. This icon has to work, and the reason why we are getting the error, it's because we have not passed in, like the necessary properties that we're supposed to pass in inside this auth social button. So what we are going to do is we'll go back, right? So we are inside the auth social button here, and what we are quickly going to do is we're going to say this icon, right? And then we're going to pass in, so we can say something like fc google, right? You can see fc google, and then this fc google, we can take it from the React icons. And then let's not forget we have an onClick here, so we can add the onClick, and then this onClick we can just say something like, then we can say social action, the social action that we created on top there. So social action is going to be what? Google. You get it? So right after doing this, we can simply copy this and then paste it here, right? Then we just change this to GitHub, and then we change this to BS GitHub. Nice. So okay, let's refresh. Okay, I think it's refreshing because okay, nice. So looking at the project, you can see that we have this stuff here, but we are not done. So the last thing that we want to apply is the ability for us to be able to switch between the sign in and then the register form, right? So in order for us to be able to do that, we need to go to the last bottom, the last side here, right? So in between these last two divs, right, we're going to take this, and then we say this div needs to have a class name. Okay, so a class name, and then this class name is definitely going to be having flex, then gap 2, so gap 2, then justify content center or justify center, and then we have text sm, so we have text sm, then we give it an empty or a margin top 6. Then let's not forget about the text gray 500. Okay, nicely done. Then when we are done, we just come in the middle here, we just come into the side here, then we add a div. So this div is basically going to have this you see this variance thing that we were checking for, we're basically going to be checking again. So we are going to say, oh, check if it's login, if it's a login type of situation. If it's a login, if the variant is bringing out login, then I need you to show what new to, like I need you to show new to neurofeed messenger. So it's like new to neurofeed messenger. You get it? So new to neurofeed messenger, or if it's register, so you can just ask that, like, we already have an account, right? So okay, cool. So now that we've been able to set this up, we need to come right below, this. Okay, right below this, then we would just come and like add a few class names here. So we can say on click, yeah, so this on click, and we can toggle variant, we can toggle variants here. Nice. Then once you are done with that, we just say class name, then we say what, underline, okay, let's quickly clean this side. Okay, so underline, then we set the text to be indigo, so text indigo 500. Text indigo 500. Then we say whenever we hover over it, we want to set the text, so we want to set the text indigo to 600 whenever we hover. 600 whenever we hover. Then let's not forget cursor pointer. Okay, nice. So right after doing that, we need to come and set this variance thing here again. So you can simply just copy this, then come and paste it here, and see, oh, if the variance is equal to login, just say what, if the variance is equal to login, just say login, and sorry, let's say create an account, sorry, create an account, then here is going to be what, login, right? So as you can see, we have this all working out as we want to. If you switch, you see that it switches, but we have a little bit of a problem right around here, because you can see that when we look at this div here, when we look at the card here, you can see that it doesn't seem to have like it doesn't seem to have spaces on its edges. So in order for us to be able to fix this, I'll quickly come here and review the stylings that we have over here. Okay, so we have this, we have that, we have this, and we have that as well. And okay, we can come here and look at the space 6. Okay, I mean everything looks really clean, but since it still seems a little shaky in my opinion, it still looks a little shaky in my opinion, what we can do is I can come here, check for the border. Okay, so I can see the border. Okay, so this is not where it's supposed to be. I'll just cut that out. I'll come here. Okay, so this is the border though. Let's check here. Okay, so the border is actually the one that was here. So just paste that, and what we are going to do is, since I know that this is the border, we can quickly just apply a padding. So here we just say, so yeah, this is actually what we were missing. We forgot to bring this hyphen, so I just realized it while I was trying to fix it with the border. So yeah, that's basically it. As you can see, this is our sign in or our authentication form. You can quickly just switch between create an account and log in, and we can also, you know, try to use the Google and or the GitHub sign in. We can also use the normal sign in, and as you can see, whenever it's disabled, this is what it displays. And you can see that whenever we are trying to send like a request, or whenever it's loading, is going on, we can't send an input. You see, let me quickly refresh and show you. So over here we can add like a simple email, some password, then we can try signing in type of situation, right? So yeah, I know what I'm about to do won't work, so you can just add like a simple test. Just say test, then you see that now that we are trying to send it, you see that it's not, it has made sure that everything is disabled, right? This is cool. This is a really nice authentication form that we've been able to work with, and definitely in the next one we'll move on to much more interesting parts. So hopefully I'll see you